Welcome to HES Talk. Today we're exploring a question that challenges one of the most fundamental assumptions in education. We often say that schools prepare children for future, but if the future is constantly evolving and cannot truly be predicted, what are we really preparing them for? To explore this question, I'm delighted to welcome Mr. Jakub Paciak, founding principal of Benenden International School in Guangzhou, China. Jakub is an international school leader with extensive experience in academic excellence, leadership development, and strategic school growth. His educational journey spans institutions such as University of Oxford, University of Hong Kong, and the Harvard Graduate School of Education, bringing together perspectives from Europe and Asia on what meaningful educational leadership looks like in today's rapidly changing world. Jakub, welcome to the HES Talk. I'm really happy to have you here today. And today we are about to explore one of the biggest paradoxes in education. We often say that education prepares children for the future. How can education prepare children for the future that has never existed before, especially in the age of growing uncertainty?
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I don't think anyone really has the question or the answer. Everyone has the question, but not too many of you have the answer to it, because I don't think there is a fixed answer. I don't think
I'm not waiting for the answers.
I don't think
I'm
there's a
waiting
fixed
for
answer.
the way how educators think. That's why it's very interesting to discuss it with you.
I don't think there's a fixed answer. It really very much depends on the context, because as much as education is a system, the child is an individual, and we need to always understand this. We need to disconnect the system from the child, or the system from the person that's being educated, and that's the difficult part. I think the most difficult part. And then if you add uncertainty into the mix, then obviously you start to experience challenges. And I think we all educators experienced a lot of challenges. COVID was a very big challenge, and we just got out of COVID, and then we moved into the world of AI, which is supposed so scary. There's not going to be any need for humans in the future, which I don't agree with. So I think we can just try our best, and I think there's always been education always has tried to do its best. The educators have always tried to do their best to serve the needs of the students, despite the changes in the times. So I'm optimistic, but I think we have to just focus on certain areas more than others.
If I would just continue with my question about the uncertainty, you see, the whole education system has been constantly operating based on certainty. So there is a big paradox, because any future, it's uncertain, so that it's just challenging. It has potential challenges, and we really want to avoid them. Just focusing in education for correct answers, very static, ready-made answers. We really need, mostly we focus on that. So my question is, because you see, the problem is that there are different levels of understanding and different levels of facing this question. From the parents' point of view, they really want this certainty. They, educate children to have this certainty. They focus on answers. They focus on something very stable. They want it. Education is for stability. But if we speak about different professional layer, and let's say educators, UNESCO, everywhere we speak about transforming education, about, redesigning it. Absolutely, because now we really have entered, as a civilization, we have entered a very interesting phase that hasn't been before. About, you see, human intelligence coexists with artificial intelligence. So how we're going, what kind of future we're going to have. So that that's why my question is how to bridge this understanding from educators' point of view and parents' point of view. Parents want certainty, they want answers. Educators, they want transformation. What kind of transformation? How we can translate this understanding so that parents can be at the same level and can really welcome any, changes that we want to do?
I think as educators, we obviously operate within the restraints of the system. So
That's true.
the certainty from a parent perspective is the certainty is imposed. So the universities impose expectations through their admissions criteria on high schools.
Yeah.
High school then impose expectations on middle schools. Middle schools impose expectations on primary school. And this, this starts to even now encroach on early years. Parents want to have the certainty that the path that they're going to get into the university they would like to get into. So there's not really much we can do at this moment to change the enrollment criteria for universities, but universities are changing because of the job market changes. Yes, so they have their own risks and their own challenges. And then they also start to change because they've started to admit students who went through COVID, and they see the disconnect with what they require. So the disconnect between the senior school certification and the skills that are required in university. And so the students have the academic knowledge, but what they don't have. And I think that's what we need to educate parents on, because these skills will safeguard the students from the uncertainty. Yeah. So in a sense, we, this part of the system, or the parents are imposing on education the success expectation. Yeah. So that the students must be successful within this criteria to get into good grades in middle school, good grades in high school, good grades in university, so they can have a good career. But these are and there's they focus on academic outcomes mostly. Yeah. So get your A stars, get your IGCSEs, A levels, IBs, IBDPs, APs, whatever exam board. That's the ultimate goal. But then these students go into university, and I was just reading, there's increasing statistics of first-year bachelor students who can't finish the degree. In Hong Kong, for example, just this year, over 2,000 or 3,000 students were expelled from first-year bachelors because they were not able to finish. They didn't have the skills to successfully translate the knowledge into university success. And I think that's what we need to tell the parents, that always rooting for success is a recipe for disaster, in a sense. Yeah. So always going for success, no matter the cost, no matter the sacrifice. Always going for academic success is not going to prepare their kids for the uncertain future.
But my question is, what are the steps towards success? Because you see, sometimes parents feel that success when a child every time in every situation wins.
Yeah. So that's the thing. The parents see only success as an outcome. So you have a process, you have an outcome. So from a parent perspective, education is focused on process. Parents focus on outcomes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so this is important part.
They don't see the process.
This is where we don't meet in our understanding.
They don't see the process. They just see the outcome of the process.
Right.
Because they don't have time to be in school for such a long time. Yeah. Because the whole society now, every service the parents outside of the school interact with is designed to focus on the outcome. Yeah. There's so many industries that will hide the process just to parent experience the outcome. So, no one anymore sees, food being prepared in front of them. Yeah? They just see that ready dish. Yeah.
That's true. So, this is the problem of our civilization. Yeah. We want to consume and we are not interested in the process.
So the parents want the outcome. We focus on the process. And how do we bridge that?
Yeah.
How do we evidence the process and make people feel that the confidence in the outcome?
I would like to, connect this question to, because we discussed previously before this talk and about one ingredient, I would say, a structural element without which success is not possible. Yeah. What's it? Can you please just...
Failure.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So you see, sometimes that's why sometimes parents, they're focused on the outcome and they don't understand that the process itself cannot exclude and cannot ignore, the failure. Yeah. So we will please just tell a little bit more how we can make failure as an educational tool towards, growing as a personality to reach something, to achieve something.
Yeah. So failure has always, for thousands of years of education, failure was the core element of learning. Yeah, the student had to be exposed to new knowledge and then try to understand, make meaning of it. But then through the process of trying, they were doing, obviously it was micro failures. Yeah. So unfortunately right now, with the orientation of outcomes, everyone wants to help the students. Yeah. Everyone wants to help the students to avoid the failure, to avoid the challenge. Okay, so the students leave schools, they struggle with homework, they don't need to, very quickly, I have a problem with my homework. Okay, here's a tutor, here's AI, here's this. Like the struggle is removed. Yeah. So failure has also two components. Failure also is a process and an outcome. Yeah. So process is the struggle. Yeah. And
Yes.
the outcome is the perceived failure. So we remove the struggle or we lower the struggle benchmark, then we lower the outcome, the level of failure. Yeah. So I think we as educators, we always have put in the structured opportunities to experience failure through all of the curriculum, all of the learning process. But then when parents come in, they want to remove the burden
Yes.
from their children. Yeah. They want to make sure that everyone is successful all the time, that their children always get high marks, always get great scores. Yeah. No matter that. And it handicaps the children. Yeah.
Absolutely. This is very important to understand, and I'm really very thankful to you for raising this question and to framing it like that, that you see failure is structured, it should be structured, and it should be a part of educational process where children, they grow, they learn skills, they learn resilience, right? And they learn humility. Because today when you addressed to students of our school, and when they asked about the question that what kind of humans, something related, what kind of skills or values we need to develop, and I really, it touched deeply, because the first, value you named, it was humility.
Yeah.
Humility, empathy.
Yeah.
So it was a sequence, and really sometimes you see while running after or putting all the efforts, by achieving something, being successful, we're trapped in this kind of relationship with other people, where we just become, we lose empathy.
Yeah, it's a win-lose relationship. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's an outcome-based relationship. Yeah, where if you're a child and you're raised in an environment that it's always about the comparisons. Yeah, because we can say as much as we want. The students don't compare. Of course they do. Yeah, of course, they will go around and say, what did you get on your test? What did I get on my test? So and I don't think it's healthy for a primary or junior school students to be engaging in comparisons. Obviously, the older you get, you have to be exposed to that. You have to be exposed to the ugly truth of society as a whole is operating on structures. Yeah, there is autocratic or skills-based rankings in a sense. Yeah, but I don't think we have to. This is something that primary or junior school or even senior school students should always think about, because then the relationship gets really also outcome oriented, not process oriented. Yeah. Going through disagreements, emotions, stress, communication. It should be about trying to understand, not about trying to get something out of that.
You see, sometimes I just wonder, when I absolutely agree with you that this is the structure we live in, this is our reality that we need not to ignore, right? Yeah. So that it is based on comparison. But sometimes you see a kind of revolutionary thought always, it just, you see, raises inside me, and I'm just thinking, what if education will change at least one thing that will dramatically change the whole education? The assessment system that now exists. What if because the whole assessment system right now, this is the frame we're talking about. These are expectations that parents are stuck, you see, so that this is what makes people compare each other. This is what make us go into the survival mode, into the fight, and constantly experiencing the stress. What if education will not prepare for this, I would say, structure for this kind of relationship? But what if we create different structure, different, where, I mean, children, they should not prove who they are. It's just an idea. How do you think? Can it be? I understand it's not immediately, it cannot be done, but should it be done or not from your perspective?
I think, well, it really will depend what happens after, the 10 years or 15 years. Will we get to, universal income, or will we, how the society will look like? I think at this stage, the problem with education system, and well, it's not a problem, it's a characteristic, because I've done quite a lot of thinking about it. It's the assessment system is a expression of societal norms for fairness. So in very hierarchical countries, for example, like, especially in Asian cultures, the education was always seen as a way for self-betterment of one's socio-economic status. So getting, moving above your prior, your ancestors' kind of state. So removing that, it's not something that can be done. We can look at it in more Western civilizations, the countries where education is not seen anymore as a path for advancement, in a sense. But I think in Asian context still it is seen. The public examination systems are seen as the main equalizer of opportunity. And until we can get rid of that, or until society gets to a norm where everyone is doing well enough not to have a need for that, I think it's going to be difficult. But I would much rather see a world where we don't have to engage in this level of, because like I said today in the assembly, the student asked me, would I like to be, if I could be a student again, what would I focus? I said, I would not like to be a student in this age of, time of age, because it's very, very different. 30 years ago, being a student was very different than it is right now. The level of stress, the level of expectations, the
level of uncertainty.
The level of, ambiguity, and the level of complexity of relationships. Parent-child relationship, parent-peer relationship, parent-teacher relationship. It's very different. 30 years ago, you did not have social media, you did not have mobile phones, you did not have half of the things that the students have right now. So the world, the children's world was much simpler. The only thing they had to worry about was, was the fact, much less factors that they had to control. There are so many factors they cannot.
Yes, and perhaps because we're running out of time, can I ask one question, very short one, and perhaps a short answer? Should education prepare children for the future, or should they prepare children to create the future?
I think both. Not everyone can be a creator. I don't think, like, if everyone is a creator, then who's, I don't think it's very difficult, to expect that everyone is going to create something. Everyone needs to participate in the future, like maybe co-create. So, to the level of responsibility they would like to take. So definitely everyone, the education must prepare children give them the skills and the foundation to choose to be successful in the future, but also to give them the tools to co-create that future in a meaningful and responsible way. In a participatory and a collaborative way. Not like my future is the right one.
Thank you very much. It was a very interesting session.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you very much.